Hi, this is Shap Raleigh, and we are going to discuss about top 7 things you need to know about the H1B visa because there are a lot of confusion now is happening, especially for those who work with IT consulting companies. Number one, you have to know that H1B visas are for a specialty occupations. That means you cannot just get an H1B for everything, every kind of job, unfortunately. It has to be in a specialty occupations defined by the ONET book, and usually a specialty occupations will be those like doctors, lawyers, especially engineers, and even then, there in those branches there might be some position that the USCIS are refusing to consider as a specialty occupation. Having said that, we have been able to fight many cases, including winning appeals where USCIS didn't agree with us on the specialty occupation, but we were able to prove that these are good specialty occupations. So that's number one. Number two, we are looking for a you have to have a gainful employment. That means a company cannot just file for you and say, oh, I have worked for that person, especially if that company is a consulting company or a company which is planning to a placement company. So you need to show that you have an end client at the end of the day if you're placing that person. End client means, for example, you are a consulting company or a placement company, and you want to place that person with a big company or a smaller company, or you might have layers, what we call in between. For example, you have a second company, third company, and ultimately that third company has a contract with the end client. So this is the second thing that needs to be proven under the H1B. And also, you want to have a company which has a real location, not a fictitious company, because many times in this new world, you don't really have to have an office, right? You can work from home, you can do things like that, although it is doable. As long as we can show genuine business, we recommend that this company has have a a location, a place where they're doing business, and that's number three. Now, number four, we are looking at the ability for that company to pay. Is it important? Yes, it is important. For example, let's say that the H1B candidate is going to work at your work site. You have projects, you have things like that. You can still go ahead the file for your employee, but you have to prove that you have worked for that employee. If it is a running company doing business perfectly, it's fine. It's very easy to prove there is work there, and you just have to plug in your H1B candidate. But the problem becomes more difficult when you have a startup, for example, where you're working on a specific project and it's new, and you have to prove that there is work, and for that you have to show basically your project and in details, and including showing the prospect of the business, showing that you have enough work and you need that person specifically for that job, and also you have to prove that you have money to pay that person. As you know, when you do an H1B, you have to do an LCA, which is a labor condition application, where you have to put where there's a certain amount of money you have to pay this employee. So you have to show at this point that you have money to pay that person, at least for a while. And then number five now, on the top of the list that we see all the time, and which is highly a big problem under H1B, is people will hire someone and they will bench them. First of all, there's no benching. This is not football, okay? You can bench someone, but you have to pay that person. Just don't think, okay, this person is not working, so he's sitting, so I'm not going to pay him. Well, if that's the case, you better terminate that H1B. Otherwise, as a company, you will have problems, because one of the things they look at is if you don't have work for this person, but also down the road, if that person is transferring to another company and they need a check stub and you don't pay them a paycheck stub, I mean, a pay slip, and you don't have one, not only that person will not be able to transfer, there are other ways to deal with it, that's not the topic today, but you yourself as a company, you might have issues with the Department of Labor, where they might come back to you and say, hey, you didn't really kind of get things done properly, and you were not actually looking to keep this person, and this person is not really working the right way for an H1B visa. Now, number six here is we're talking about the problems that we see oftentimes with H1B is uh, that when the employee is working for a specific location and you change the location, people fail to do an amendment. Under the Simeo case, which was enacted in kind of not enacted, but from a case called Simeo that was issued and now has been adopted by the USCIS, anytime you have a material change, you have to basically file for an amendment. And material change means also changing the location. And before we used to just do an LCA change, and that was good enough. But now they request the amendment, and we recommend people to do the amendment. And don't miss on the amendment, because it will hurt the candidate and ultimately your company if you don't do the amendment. Number seven on the list is something which should not be ignored by those who are on H1B. Remember, H1B doesn't have a grace period. Okay, many times people ask me the question, oh, I was terminated on this date, and now how much time do I have to leave? You don't really have time to leave. However, as long as you're able to leave within 180 days from the date the H1B is terminated, you will be allowed to come in. That 180 days is not a grace period. It doesn't give you any status here. You're still unlawfully present. But the rule of unlawful presence doesn't bar you from resetting your H1B. For example, you do a new employment, consular processing, and you go outside and you come back. As long as you don't pass 180 days, you should not have any problem. But remember that 180 days misconception is not a grace period. So, having said that, I just covered the top seven things about H1B visa, but it's not all. There are many issues on H1B. We recommend that you call us at the office at 510-742-5887. If you have any questions, visit our website attorneyonair.com or piralilaw.com. I put a link on the bottom of this video, and we wish you all the best. And anything I'm telling you today is for educational purposes only. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. Good luck.